Hey guys, it's Rook. Welcome to the table. I decided to make this quick video as an update because I saw something come across my screen this morning about Yugioh Rush Duels. Yugioh Rush Duels came out in April 2020, maybe 6 months ago this year, and has been exclusive to Japan. Interesting looking take on the Yu-Gi-Oh format. Rush Duel has a different art style and plays very differently. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is because what I saw this morning is that Konami recently patented a trademark of the name Rush Duel in the United States. That was effective September 22nd. So this looks pretty legitimate. The patent that was being passed around online should be on your screen now. And what this means is that it seems like we're going to see Rush Duels come to the US, similar to we saw Speed Duels. So Rush Duel is currently exclusive in Japan, but I'm personally a little excited for this because you can play Rush Duel right now on a site like Dueling Book, and I personally love how these cards look. Like, I think I'm going to get into this just because of the cards alone, if it does in fact come to the United States. The gameplay, in my experience, I played a few games of it, and the gameplay is fine. I enjoy it well enough. Not as good as Speed Duel. I find that I'm enjoying Speed Duel much better. That's why you haven't seen really any content for Rush Duel on the channel yet. But if it comes to the US, I can hold these cards in my hand and I can play this locally when the time comes for locals to come back. Then I could see myself getting into this. So I wanted to make sure, for those of you in the States, this seems like some positive news. Does this mean Speed Duel is dead? Absolutely not. I think that Konami is really just going to try and juggle these three formats physically, globally, starting with its introduction into the States, like Speed Duel was. For those of you who aren't familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, it's a format that came out alongside the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime series, similar to how Speed Duel came out alongside that anime series. Rush Duels is similar to Speed Duels in a way, but they have some variations. So in Rush Duels, you can normal summon and set as many monsters as you want to in a single turn. Level 5 and higher monsters must still be tribute summoned, so you can straight up just like normal summon a 4-star and then immediately tribute it for like a 5 or 6-star if you wanted to on your same turn. All players start the duel with 4 cards in their hand. During the draw phase, turn player draws cards until they have 5 cards in their hand. So the goal of the game is to really play out your whole hand because you're going to draw 5 more cards at the beginning of your next turn. So if the player has 5 or more cards in their hand, they just draw 1 card. The less cards you have in your hand, the more cards you're going to draw when it comes to be your turn. There's also no limit to the number of cards in a player's hand here. And if a player would draw but does not have enough cards left in their deck, that player loses the duel. So it's all about exhausting your entire hand onto the field in order to continue to draw cards and have additional monsters that you can play in your monster zones. Now, like Speed Duels, Rush Duel has 3 monster zones, 3 spell and trap zones, so you definitely want to run a mixture of 4 stars, 3 stars, and then of course tributes. In fact, this format definitely is geared to have more tribute monsters in your deck as opposed to like a Speed Duel deck. There's an extra deck zone, but there are no extra deck cards revealed. There hasn't been any fusions, Ixies, synchros, anything like that in Rush Duel. In Rush Duel, you start with 8,000 life points. Rush Duel is similar to traditional TCG for Yu-Gi-Oh! In the way that players start with 8,000 life points and can have 40 to 60 cards in their deck, as opposed to Speed Duel with the 4,000 and around 20 cards in the deck is what we're looking for with Speed Duel. The effects of monsters on the field can only be activated once per turn while they're face up on the field. Some activation requirements and costs require you to discard cards. An example would be the level 3 water spellcaster effect monster Mystic Dealer. That has a requirement, which you can see now. The card's in Japanese, but the requirement is you can activate this by sending 1 monster spellcaster type from your hand to the graveyard, and the effect is that you draw 1 card. You're going to find that a lot of these requirements involve discarding cards to the graveyard, which isn't that terrible because you're obviously drawing up to 5 cards by the next turn. And there are a lot of spells and a lot of monster effects, a lot of cards that help recycle cards that go into the graveyard back into the deck. So you're never too worried about decking out or maybe dropping a monster in the graveyard that you wanted to get on the field, because there are a lot of recycle effects to get the graveyard back into the deck. Also, like Speed Duels, there's no main phase 2, but Rush Duels also doesn't have a standby phase. So Rush Duels is draw phase, main phase 1, battle phase, we're done. That's your turn. And also, Rush Duels have some specific cards that are marked as legend cards. A deck can contain a maximum of 1 legend card. So an example of a legend card in Rush Duel is Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician, Red Eyes Black Dragon. They're pretty broken in the sense that you can really tribute to a Blue Eyes in your first turn because you can just normal summon as many times as you want. They indicate those as a legend. You can only have 1 of those in your deck. So if you guys are interested in playing this format, I recommend checking out on a site like Dueling Book. You can build the deck. The cards are in English, but if this actually comes to the States, I am personally excited from a collector standpoint because I love how these cards look. I personally am in love with this art style as opposed to the TCG. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, and I'd be interested to play it physically for sure. So if this comes to the States, then sign me up. I think I'm going to start covering some Rush Duel stuff in the future, especially if they start to globalize Rush Duel like they did Speed Duel. A common question that I'm hearing in response to this is, do you think Konami's spreading themselves too thin with trying to maintain advanced format Speed Duel and Rush Duel now? And my answer to that is only time will tell. We do have Speed Duel product coming later this year. Obviously, regular TCG and Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't slowing down at any time. So I think the introduction of Rush Duel is going to let us know if Speed Duel will slow down or if Rush Duel is just going to be throttled in terms of a product release. It seems like their team is going to be on top of maintaining all of the formats that they have out in the States, but time will tell. So gear up for Rush Duels, guys. This might be a fun little addition to our collection of Yu-Gi-Oh formats. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you later.